It's 7 o'clock, so I'll call to order the meeting of the Clintonville Area Commission Zoning and Variance Committee. I'm Stephen Hardwick, the chair. Do I have any objections to the agenda? Without objection, the agenda is approved. Before I go any further, I wanted to introduce, we should all introduce ourselves because we have a new member, Paul Beck.
Hello.
And you want to briefly introduce, I'm Stephen Hardwick, I'm the chair of the committee, I live just down the street. My day job is an appellate public defender for the state. Right?
I'm Michael Hall, I'm the vice chair of the Zoning and Variance Committee. I am a controls engineer. I've been on this committee for 13 years now, and enjoyed every minute of it, so. Thank you.
Every
90% of the minutes.
I'm Rhea Purnell. I live in Clintonville, north of here. And, I've been on the committee for 4-ish, plus or minus years, and I've enjoyed 90% of Mike's time.
Fair.
I am the other Mike, Mike McLaughlin, and I'm a former commissioner, and I've been around for a while. So welcome.
Thanks. Well, I'm Paul. I live on the north end of Clintonville. My day job is a transportation engineer.
I'm Gretchen. I work in housing and development, and I'm going into my 3rd term.
I'm Diane Hayford. I'm retired pre-K teacher. Been on this committee for years. Well. Lots.
Jason Advaning, I've been on this committee for a couple years. I'm also an engineer. I work in the environmental consulting industry, and I live down the street in Longview. I've been active in the community off and on for many years.
Okay. Let's see, move on to thank you for, consider the draft minutes from the previous meeting. If anyone has any corrections, now's the time to say them, otherwise ask for a motion to approve.
Second.
And ask, okay, is there a motion to approve?
I moved to.
Okay, second. Okay. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
Me, I wasn't here.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 yes, 1 abstain. Approved, so it's approved. Selection of vice chair. Michael Hawes done a very admirable job. No, I was trying to think of the right more superlative action, which I should have thought. And for the last couple years in that position, and I'd ask that I'd put a nomination on the floor to ask him to be the. Are there any? I nominate him. Are there any other nominations?
I will second that.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Enthusiastically.
Okay. Welcome to
I'm
Sharon
willing to
Road.
accept other nominations.
No, I'll take that as a motion to approve with the second. All in favor of designating Michael Hawes our vice chair for the upcoming year, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved unanimously. Welcome, yeah, you can have those. Let's see here. Move on to the next item. The next item on the agenda, variance agenda, is CB 26005, 430 East Kanawha Avenue. Despite the emails that I've sent out, the applicant has been clear all along as to what they're requesting. It looks to me like the city's described it differently, at least on their website, but they assure me today that yes, indeed, that's the application. And so we're going to consider what they asked for. There are 2 mistakes with mailing out notices. The first is I basically worked the entire weekend before this, so even including the holiday, and I forgot, I had everything stamped and ready to mail on Wednesday and forgot and didn't mail it till Thursday. But I know that I got my copy on Friday. I know a neighbor did because they called me with a correction. And I got it in time to mail out a second notice with the correction, which I received on Monday, which I received this past Monday. So the neighbors received 2 notices in one form or the other for this. The applicant seeks a variance from CC 3332.37B to allow alteration of a home to accommodate a small business operation. And the way we do this is the applicant gets the floor, then the area commissioner, who's Commissioner Miller, can make a statement if he do a report if he wants. Then it comes to the committee for questions, the applicant. Then when the committee is done talking with the applicant, anyone who is here who wishes to speak to it will have the chance to speak to it. Then always give a commissioner a chance to speak if the commissioner wants to be recognized again. Then it comes back to the committee for discussion and vote. But if you are here to speak on it, you will get your chance. Just wait till that part of it, and you will get a chance. So the applicant, whoever's speaking for the applicant, can you come and speak?
Yeah,
Just,
hi. Can I move up there? Or
sure, why not?
Okay.
As long as people can hear you.
I sent an email today, but I also have printouts of another neighbor that is in support of this.
May I ask your name and your relation?
Oh, sorry, I'm Jess Steiner. I am the office manager for Prime Exterior Pros, and we will be handling, if this is approved, the construction of the addition. All right, and then, yeah, that city code gets really confusing, but we are just sticking with D. Would you mind passing those down? Thank you. We would like to add a second-story addition above their garage to accommodate Sarah Speed's esthetician business. The design is to complement and kind of just continue the theme of the house. We'll have a white horizontal vinyl siding, light gray asphalt roof. We're going to have the windows will be vinyl double hung, a couple pictures above the door. There will be a separate entrance for this addition, so people won't have to go through the home. And I know in the city review, they brought up concerns about a breezeway. It's not a breezeway, it's attached, but regardless, we're gonna be under 25 feet. So I think the height comes out to 21 feet, 4 inches when it's all said and done. There will also be plenty of parking. They have a concrete pad off to the left of their driveway that can accommodate 2 cars. And the existing driveway will get new garage doors, but still accommodate parking for both homeowners. Trying to think. And just in general, I know a neighbor had raised this concern. With the zoning, it would not be a blanket for a blanket zoning if we do get this passed in the city for the next owner to come in and do whatever they want in that addition. They would still be bound by city code. So there are some exceptions and leniency with certain businesses. Her being an esthetician and only seeing 1 to 2 clients on average a day, only 3 to 4 days a week, will keep traffic flow low. But if they sell, someone else comes in, they'd also have to go through their own zoning process if they wanted to run a business. This is just specifically for her and her business at her residence.
Just a question. My understanding is that the zoning would run with the property. So if someone else wanted to make a business that complied with the home business rules, which are extensive, they can't just like run a body shop out.
Right, yeah.
But they have to follow. I know I sent it out. I'm trying to think. At one point, I sent out copies to the neighbors of the rules. I don't think I sent them out to the committee, but the city has. I'll see if I can find that for the committee. But so unless there's something you know differently, I think this does go with the property. It's just.
In the extent that yes, there are home occupation allowances, but it would not be just like you can run whatever business you want out of that. They would still be confined by the same sort of business standards and practices that we would, or she plans to use, which would be small and within.
And actually, I think now I think I understand, because the law doesn't allow significant interior renovations to accommodate the business, and that's why they're asking for permission to renovate to accommodate. That's the variance that they ask for. They are not allowed.
That is a better way to describe it, sorry.
So
Trying to make
there's
sure
no
it's
change in
all-
the uses variance. It's just now they're asking to get the permission to alter the building to accommodate this, which normally you're not allowed to do.
And with her business too, she wouldn't have any employees. She'll be the only person running it. She doesn't use any weird chemicals, so there won't be any weird storage, nor would there be any increased noise pollution.
Actually, Commissioner Miller for the district, do you have a report?
Yeah, I reached out to, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
it was
Okay.
me.
Yeah,
Hi.
so, and Stephen and I also had some conversation about the interpretation of this code section. And I talked to the planner also, just because there were some questions around what are the actual rules here? And, yeah, I just wanted to share what I found out is that, like you had said, only occupants of this house can operate this business. And the code also specifies that an esthetician is not the type of job where you can hire somebody else to come and work here as well. So the owner, occupant of this house is the only person who can run this business or be employed by this business.
Correct, and that would be the same for any future.
If you just
Yeah.
Google Columbus home business rules, that you'll come
Oh,
up
yeah.
with this page.
So the other thing I kind of determined was the intent of this is really to protect the neighborhood character, make sure that home occupations, which are allowed, don't have a negative impact. And I think you all did a good job of kind of explaining the nature of the business and the low impact. And I appreciate you guys providing what it's going to look like, even though it's attached, right? And
Yes.
so really the design really isn't up for interpretation. It's really just, is this a business home occupation that's going to have a negative impact? Based on everything you guys answered, I can't see it, but I don't know if anybody else has some opinions about how it could impact.
We'll have committee questions next then. Kenny?
So, looking at that picture, if it wasn't going to be used for a business, a homeowner business, that could be constructed without any variances at all.
I believe that's why this is a council variance, because it's a use variance.
Yes.
It's because if they want to change it with the purpose of using it for as a home business, they have to get a variance.
Right.
'Cause if
So
you look-
otherwise, you could construct that without any okay, cool.
Yeah, and city staff confirmed that today too, that there's no other variances associated with construction.
Okay. Excellent.
So with the owner being the operator of the business, I actually didn't quite see what was in the code that required them to get a variance.
That we're altering the home to accommodate the business. So if she were to have just had it in her home without any changes, she could have gone that route, but they'd like to alter the interior and exterior, and because of that, for the business, we have to apply for this variance.
So if you had done an accessory dwelling unit above the garage, and you ran a business out of there, what would be the difference?
That wouldn't be up to code with the city at least, so if someone were to be found out doing something like that, I assume there'd be heavy fines. Sometimes they make you just tear everything down. I don't know the extent of breaking the rules.
But it's about altering the building would be in place and there'd be no alteration, there's no issue, is that your point?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so what you need to do is an alteration for the space to accommodate the business. But if you could do the alteration to the space anyway, and as the occupant and owner being the sole person that's using the business, why Is there anything required at all? I mean, I appreciate you erring to the conservative side to make sure you're covered, but I kept reading through everything that you could and couldn't do and what was required, and I'm like,
Well,
not sure it's required at all.
Yeah, and it says the home occupation has to be in the principal residence of the individual so engaged and shall be excluded from any yard or accessory buildings, and since it's attached, this isn't an accessory building, and shall be clearly incidental and subordinate to the primary use. Then here's where they have the problem: no alteration shall be made to the internal or external structures of the residential building for purposes of any home occupation. That, and they give a whole bunch of things you're not allowed to, like roof partitions and floors that can. You can't tell if you look.
But wait, isn't it on B only?
Yes, this is the only thing they're asking for. So all these other rules apply to them. They can't.
Okay, that's still in effect then. B is the only exception.
Right. So they can't. It can't be no evidence of the home occupation to be visible from the outside, except for one sign. They can't have 20% of the area, more than 20% of the area used for it. And only the permanent residents of the dwelling unit can work there unless you're one of these professions, I guess. They allow architects, attorneys, clergy, dentists, engineers, physicians, and surgeons to have a support staff and admin there. No storage, but they don't have, this applicant doesn't have that. No storage of equipment or materials used in the occupation can be outside. They can't change any utility lines, or make noise that's not unusual noise. That no equipment shall be possessed which emits radiation or great. All these rules still apply to them. The only one they're asking for is this B. I just really got to make sure people understand what they're approving and what they're not, what's not on the table, what they're still required to follow if this variance is granted.
But yeah, to the city told us we had to apply for this, so
Okay.
that's part of it.
Chair Hardwick,
Yeah.
just one comment about what Andrea asked. I had the same question, and I called the planner at the city, and I was like, if they would have just built this addition for their growing lifestyle or growing family, there would have been no variances needed. And then if at some later point they said, hey, I want to operate my business in here, they wouldn't have had to follow this process at all. So I do appreciate the.
Yeah, we like to be above
forthright-
board.
Yeah. And I don't, and the planner did make a comment, maybe there's something with esthetician licensing where they need to show that they have the ability to do this, and so I don't know.
Oh,
Either way,
okay.
we appreciate you following the
But,
process.
yeah.
I assume there's no signage?
She will be allowed one sign. We've got discussed that prior, but I have made mention she is allowed one sign with this business. Outside of that, she'd have to apply for more signage.
So she's allowed one, and what are the where would it be and what are the signs?
I'm not sure on placement or design of it quite yet.
We'd have to look at this code section.
Yeah,
It's the graphics.
There's
code.
a separate code
Yeah, I
section
know,
to
that's
read
why I
up
was
on.
curious. Let's see, there was something else. The staff review was talking about parking space sizes.
Yeah, they
What
had
was that all
asked, they'd asked if the garage is still going to function, the ground floor garage still function as a garage, which it is. And then the variances they brought up have to do with stacked parking, but they've got a little concrete pad off to the side for parking. So her customer will be able to park in that space. And we won't be impeding on, we'll be 25 feet away from right away.
One thing I was kind of curious enough when I was reading the staff report was they were asking about hardship, because we're not seeing that word much anymore. And so what is the hardship?
The statement of hardship is part of the variance application where basically we just pled our case to them as to why we'd like to have this, why we think it's beneficial, how we think it would be detrimental if the homeowners weren't granted it, etc. So basically when I filled that out, it's saying like, yes, the house is still usable as a residential area, but then going on to explain the benefits of allowing her to run her small business from her home.
Could you run this small business without this variance?
Not in this area.
Would the building function would the building function?
It would function as a home. I don't know that she'd be able to run her business out of it without altering the house, though, with, the space that they have already.
And one of the other things they mentioned in the staff report was whether you had done a preliminary review with the engineering plan review.
No,
Section.
it's been submitted to them, yeah.
So everything, they've gone through this and know that every variance that should happen with this
Yes.
application is now
Yes.
here, and we have one.
And we landed on the one.
Thank you.
Did I hear you have site plans available?
I didn't bring them with me. I'm sorry.
But they are, if that for the commission meeting. get them
Yes,
there.
yeah, for sure. I'll email those over to you.
So if she was going to do her business in the existing house, right? If there was space in the existing house for her to do the business, would you even need a variance?
Not so long as they didn't have to make any
Right.
alterations to the home, no.
That's kind of what you were saying before the meeting, that, you can run a small business out of your house if you just follow these rules. But because you want to build a separate place for your business, that's why you're here.
Correct, yes.
It's a very nice addition. I mean, it looks very nice schematically, and how the doors off to the side and they go up. And
Thank you.
it
Yeah, we
looks
did a good
very,
job of those.
it looks very nice. And not having to ask for like, I want a roof 30 feet high, stuff
Right.
like that. That's kind of nice too.
Yeah,
So
no, we don't
thank
want
you.
it to tower or
Right,
be
yeah,
an
yeah.
eyesore.
And it's in a location too that there's not many neighbors around. It's on that bend.
It's a quieter
and
part of the
It's a
neighborhood.
quiet part.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, too, the volume of her business would be small. I think she'd maybe see 8 to 10 people a week. So kind of just like someone being social and having people over.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay. Commissioner Miller, any comments before we go?
My only comment would be that I think these are the type of businesses that we should welcome in our neighborhoods.
I'm sorry.
These are the type of businesses that I think we should welcome in our neighborhoods.
Anyone here to come speak on it?
Questions?
What?
Taking questions?
You're gonna, since there are only a few people here, will allow questions. If this were a bigger meeting with lots of people, we'd be more formal, unless anyone on the committee objects.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a couple questions, easy ones I would assume. My name is Matt Warren and I live on Rush, which is right across the street. This is going to be a business, and how will it be inspected by the city of Columbus? Is it going to be like utilized as a barber setting, a massage setting, something like that, or is it just going to run and nobody's ever going to inspect it?
She is an esthetician, so facial skincare type services. As far as how the city inspects those businesses, I'm not sure. I'd have to read up on that.
Okay. So that would be my first concern. The second one is there's a sign that you just spoke about. We don't know the size of the sign. We don't know if it's a lit sign or just a daytime sign that you drive by and see. Okay. And again, I go back to the lady here. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It's right here.
Andrea.
Does it really have to be applied for a variance here? I don't know that it really does. We have so many people all over that just do their businesses out of their houses, and we've got people on the street that have a bakery. We have people that have gift shops. And, they're not sitting down here asking for a variance, they're just doing their thing. And so our concern basically is, and there's other neighbors that could not make it here due to their age, so I'm speaking for them as well. What's to prevent this from moving out in 2 years, and then all of a sudden we want to put in a hair salon? And speaking to that too, she's an esthetician, maybe they want to do hair there at some point. I don't know. I haven't seen any interior drawings showing shampoo bowls or anything like that, or restrooms, so I see a picture that looks very nice. It looks like a home. But that's, things can change. You can tear apart your garage down and build a huge garage as long as you leave one wall up. right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
So as far as that is, it's a quiet area. We don't have a through street to Indianola, and we're not looking for a whole gang of traffic. It doesn't sound like there'll be a whole bunch of traffic, but we don't know. And somebody could move out, and then the door's open. Once this variance is granted, and the city says, "Gee whiz, we love you," anything can change here, folks. So I'm not speaking negatively. I'm just speaking.
No,
the
that's
truth.
a fair concern. Whoever moves into the home is still going to be bound by the same city code where they would be able to utilize the space. They would not be able to alter it without pulling another variance. And I know I can't speak for how anybody else does anything, but our company likes to keep things above the board with the city, especially, which is specific, and the Sweebs as well wanted to do everything correctly. So that's why we're here pulling this variance, and also to hear neighbor concerns and hopefully help out a little bit. I will dig into more information. There's for the next meeting about the sign, what it's going to look like, how big it's going to be, if it's going to be lit or not. I haven't read that code in a while. But as far as what other people are going to do, I can't speculate to that.
Sure, I can't either.
But I understand that concern. But I have spoken with Sarah specifically, and she's not keen to grow her business. She's comfortable with her small business, wants it to remain like that. And if someone else did want to run a business and they did it the right way, then they have to get traffic checks too to make
So,
sure.
Assuming she's not new to being an esthetician, it sounds like she's doing this business someplace.
I'm not aware of the current location of the
So
business.
I'm just saying, so she's got a license to do this.
I just, yeah, you have some sort of licensure with the state, I believe.
Sure, I don't know. Your company has a good reputation, so yeah. I'm glad
thank you.
You were able to come down here and at least talk, and I'll shut
Yeah.
my mouth down. John.
Oh, no, you're good. I like.
Give your name, can you give your names and where you live so for the.
I am Troy and Sarah's next door neighbor, John Weber, and I have a number of questions. The sign is something new, and that's a little concerning to me.
She's never spoken about a sign to me, just with the code, she would be allowed one. We were gonna get with our designer too, to get some like interior renderings and stuff to give people a better idea. But that was gonna be a question of mine, was if she planned on displaying anything, or if she was gonna go with word of mouth.
A big concern, especially if it's of any size, a larger size, and lit. I can't imagine that they would want to light it.
I don't think you're allowed, honestly.
But that is one of my concerns, so I think that needs to be addressed. Most of my questions go to the fact that this is a residential neighborhood. We've been there for 36 years. We like it because it's quiet. There's not a lot of traffic, and we're concerned about the number of people that are going to be over there, even though Troy and Sarah both said, Sarah said one car at a time, maybe 3 to 4 per day. But my biggest concern is they're young. They're a lot younger than I am. If they move, somebody else sees, oh, there's a variance. Does the variance actually go with the house?
Yes.
That says to me, you could open up, I heard you say that it's got to fit certain parameters for the city. I'm just really wary about what's going to go in there. We've got a beautiful, quiet neighborhood, and anything with, I'm going to throw this out. I know this isn't the case, but if a car repair place or something, somebody that works out of their garage, that's going to be unacceptable.
That the city would think so too. I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to do that at all in neighborhoods.
No evidence of the home occupation shall be visible off the lot.
Everything would have to be inside.
So no external sign.
So no
One
external sign.
One, and
It
I'll
says.
figure out the dimensions and qualifications for that before the next meeting.
So the R1, will the R1 residential neighborhood code still apply to this house? The
Yes,
zoning?
yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's not changing to commercial.
No. Nothing is being like rezoned. This would be a variance to the zoning code to allow this accommodation for her business, but it won't be rezoned.
Okay, one of my concerns is what kind of business could come in? Like I said, they're young. If they have a growing family, they might say, oh man, we can't, there's just no room here, we gotta move. And then the rest of the neighbors are like, all hold their breath, what's gonna come in? So what you're saying is the variance would carry right over to whoever the new owner is?
Yes,
Yeah.
but that new owner would still be bound by the rest of city code. So they would not be, it would still have to be strictly contained to the home. They'd still only be allowed one sign within specific dimensions. They still would not be allowed to contribute to increased traffic, noise pollution, no storing of any chemicals or anything on the property. So everything's going to be, regardless of who gets in there, they're still going to have to keep it contained just to their house and that space.
I think, I can answer the question of the signage. There's nameplates and home office occupation signs. The graphic area of each sign shall not exceed, they only get one, 4 square feet, shall be limited to either a wall or window sign on the ground floor, a ground sign with overall height of 3 feet or mounted on a post lamp designed to support the sign. A ground or post-mounted home occupation sign shall be set back at least 2 feet from the right-of-way line of the frontage. The right-of-way line is usually where the front porch is, but not always. And at least 2 feet from any public sidewalk or shared use path. Cannot be directed at a freeway, and a sign shall be removed from the lot when the underlying home occupation ceases.
Does it say anything about lighting?
It said it's not illuminated in the first part.
Non-illuminated, permanent, non-illuminated.
Okay, I didn't think they could do lights, but yeah, I didn't think they could. I just didn't want to speak out of
So
turn.
that's roughly a 2 by 2, 2 foot by 2 foot sign, right?
Yeah.
Okay, non-lighted, okay. Okay. You mentioned the driveway, a pull-off space. Are they putting in more driveway
Nope.
that's already there?
It's already there.
Okay.
They already use it.
That's good. That's good. I think that's all of my questions. If you could provide at the next meeting more clarity on, what could go in there, perhaps if it changes hands, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll look into that.
This kind of goes along with that, and I know nobody has a crystal ball here,
No,
but this process, let's say the process gets approved, and then it goes belly up in a couple of years. What's the process as a neighbor to cease and desist this and turn this away and get this variance to go away? Is there a process for that?
Go ahead,
Yeah, so,
Commissioner Miller.
Yeah.
You reckon?
so basically, they're not asking for a variance to operate a business.
Okay.
Anybody you can operate a business in your house right now. So that's not what they're asking for. They're just asking to alter the look of their home so that their business can function better in that home.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if she stops operating a business or they sell the house, somebody new comes in, they can operate whatever home occupation that is permitted. What they're asking for isn't giving anybody else a right in the future to do something outside of the code.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. So that means that the variance does not go along with the house.
It doesn't. I mean, council variance is
for
technically.
construction,
This
for
is
alteration. It's not for operating the business.
Yeah, this is kind of unique because council variances do technically run with property, but this type of variance is like a single. It's like a single event,
one-time,
right?
yeah. Ask.
I mean, if somebody else wanted to modify their home for
They'd have to go
some
through
other
the same
business, they'd
thing.
have to do the same thing over again.
I think that's all my questions.
I'm good.
Sandy Simbro,
Where do I start? As I see it, you're talking about building a 2-story garage next door to a 1-story ranch. So the garage is going to be twice the height of the house. So the garage does not actually match the architecture of the house because the house is 1-story with no gables. And so you're putting in a 2-story garage with a dormer. So it is architecturally totally different. How is this not an ADU as soon as Zone in Columbus has their way and they ignore R1 and ignore everything else and they say, hey, it's an ADU now because it's attached by a breezeway. There is no direct access from the second floor quote-unquote unit to the primary dwelling without going outside into the garage and then through the breezeway. The breezeway does not have any exterior access.
It does.
It does,
Yes. There is a door on the back.
but the only way to get from the second floor
You would have to, yes.
ADU into the house is you gotta go down to the garage.
Correct.
Okay. So it will have full plumbing and electricity.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing to stop an ADU.
I don't
And-
understand
What's an ADU?
Accessory dwelling unit, an apartment.
But those are allowed by right now.
That's what I'm saying, is that while
If she
they,
was asking for that today, she wouldn't need to be here.
that's right, but what, and the thing is, she's not because the current owners are not. But what I'm saying is that next week, we can all change our minds and we can flush this whole idea down the drain. They can put in a ADU, which is more profitable than an esthetician's office. So I don't know how architecturally it may be very pleasant to look at the garage and look at the house, which looks like it is built in 3 sections. It's not, it's like, there's 3 different facades for the house. So the garage architectural style does not match the house. And it is, by all rights, it is an ADU, and as Gretchen has pointed out, it's already blessed by the city. So you already can have an apartment there without any additional parking.
So what's your point?
My point is that I think what they're asking for is wrong. Because she could operate the business in the house. It's her choice is that she wants more space, they want more space, whatever. It could have been done, that breezeway could have been a room addition, with an office, but an esthetician's office usually is not that big, 8 by 8, they're not huge. 10 by 10 would be huge for an institution, salon. There's just something doesn't feel right, and it's not on the part of the contractor. There's just something doesn't feel right. I've seen 2 instances very similar to this. One was on Amazon down toward the bird sanctuary, and that didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. And another one was on Indian Springs. So just saying my piece.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Sir, please respect people's comments. Oh, do we have any other comment? Any other public comments? Okay, now it comes back to the committee for discussion, and Commissioner Miller will always be recognized if he asks.
That's it.
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
sit. Yeah. Actually, the way I should do it, I put a motion on the floor for discussion. The chair puts a motion on the floor to approve the application as submitted. Now that does not need a second by our rule, so now it goes for discussion, and if you want to include questions to the applicant, you can. After she's done, I'll go.
Just my last comment. I appreciate you guys being here. It really is a nice, quiet area down there. Most people living on Kanawha or Charleston like to walk down there along Rush Run. But I do think if you go through the application, they do a really good job of explaining the nature of the business and the low impact of it. And for those reasons, I think the intent of the code is to allow home occupations, and as long as people are doing the right thing to not become a nuisance in the neighborhood, and I feel that they've done a good job of explaining that. So,
thank
I have concerns about the variance going with the property. While the property inside the house might stay the same, that another owner might require more parking spaces outside the house. So that could change no matter what you put inside the house. I'm concerned, the signage question hasn't been totally resolved yet, and I expect that by next week it will be. But I do like that it's not lit and that it's fairly small. And I haven't identified a hardship here, so that's my other issue.
I'll just add to what she said, that there already, as we stated, there's already a mechanism for the alteration, so I also don't see a hardship. But, you know, it seems like asking a lot to potentially open it up to future alterations, and you don't potentially need it at all.
May I ask a question? Commissioner Moore, when you talked to the city, did any other future alterations would require a separate variance?
Oh, yeah.
So they would have to come back if a future owner, this isn't carte blanche to forever change it to whatever you want. They'd have to use the existing structure.
Yeah, ultimately, home occupations are allowed. That's the thing.
We're not approving the business.
Right. Yeah, we're not approving the business use. Any future homeowner could use this house in any way they please to run a home occupation. But if they wanted to change the character of it, specifically so they could do that business, they would have to come back and ask for a variance from that section.
When is the variance not gone with the property?
Well, it's because it always goes with the property, but it's what the variance, they are getting permission to make this alteration. At least that's what the city planners tell us, and I can't I'm not gonna try to out-lawyer the city lawyer.
Yeah.
That's if they tell us that this is the alteration they're getting permission for, that it's not carte blanche just to take the house down. And they also would have to comply with all other zoning.
Right, yes.
It really is a bizarre kind of code section, and Ms. Simrose said something doesn't feel right. When I first read it, I felt the same way, because my question was, why didn't they just do the addition and then say a few months later, hey, great, we're going to use this space now for our business. Like, they could have done that. I appreciate the fact that they said, hey, we want to operate our business. We want to give our neighbors a chance to weigh in and let everybody know what's coming and make sure that we're doing it the right way. So I appreciate that you guys did it this way.
Well, I want to second that as well. I mean, there's definitely appreciation for following the rules and going through all the procedures, and I just want to make sure it's not too big of an ask,
It's also good, that's also why we put when we vote, we all get to say things like that so that the commission can see that, and if they think they need to put a condition on it or whatever, they can do it. So yeah, when you do what you said is now in the minutes. If you want to put it with the vote, do it again. Do you have any? Do you have a?
No, it's again, it's them just being honest and coming here, because they could have built this thing without a variance. They could have made an ADU without a variance. They could have done all of this without a variance. And all she wants to do is run her business out of her home. And for her to do that, it requires additional space to do it. So I get it. I mean, I don't see it as a big ask, and it doesn't scare me. And so they sell it so an accountant could run their business out there. I mean, they have to follow all those other rules. And I remember my accountant years ago was on a West Schreier, and all she did was have a little thing hanging down from her lamppost that just said her name, CPA, blah blah, and that was it. I mean, I don't think this is anything that we should be scared about.
Sorry, if I may, I'm the property owner. I apologize for being late. Got off work.
Does anyone object if I give the homeowner a chance? Okay, go ahead. You give your name and then.
Yes, my name is Troy Sweetie. I'm the property owner. My wife is Sarah Sweetie. Again, apologies for being late. My wife got off work late. So, it sounds like you guys are fairly far into it. I guess it sounds like first I'd like you to just, any questions that you'd like to ask me directly, I'd be more than happy to state what you said, sir. Absolutely. What we intend, what we're hoping. We are building the property as it'll work as a live-in space. So if for whatever reason Sarah stops doing her business, it's an in-law suite for my mother-in-law. It's a spot for our son to potentially live in someday, as it's harder for people to start a home of their own. So our only hope is to just run the business of her esthetician services. She has an existing client. We've reviewed it with our neighbors. We've tried to be as open and transparent as we possibly can. And again, I'm just here to answer questions, and I don't want to detract from anything else from the meeting there. So please let me know if I can answer any questions.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? And for our new member, the way we do the votes, unless there's someone wants to interrupt with a question, that's
I
fine.
think we probably have a couple of.
No, I think we did a round of public comment.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Commissioner, the one exception to every rule is that the commissioner for the district gets recognized whenever the commissioner wants to get recognized.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Just a couple questions that I wrote down that came up. The esthetician job, is she licensed?
Yes.
Does that come with inspections or anything like that?
Yes, from the board.
Okay.
State board.
So would they be visiting the space to
I
inspect?
believe within 90 days of us taking occupancy, they have to come in and inspect.
And then I think the application clarified this, but how much volume is she expecting in terms of business per day or
Like clients, you mean?
Yeah, clients.
At minimum 1 to 2, at max 4. She might have, it'll never be more than 2 at the property at once. As you can see, I don't know if they did any aerial views, but there is already ample parking for 2 cars already built in. So as one client comes in, finishes her treatment, the next client may come in, park, come up into the waiting room, and other client will leave, and they'll leave. So it'll only ever be kind of be 1 in, 1 out.
Okay. That's all.
Back to the committee. Yes. Any more comments from the committee? And you get a comment when you vote as well. Okay. Then I'm going to take the vote. I'll start with Ricky.
Yes.
No, and part of it is the incompletion aspect of the signage. That information needs to be available next week. And I still can't identify a hardship. I am concerned about future use, more cars especially.
This is a difficult one for me, but I'll have to vote no because I also don't see a hardship and share the concern about future use. I do support the concept and think there's another mechanism for accomplishing what's intended.
Michael.
I'm with Jason on this. This is tough. I do support the use of your personal home as a business. That is something that we all would probably like to do. I also am concerned about the hardship. We've seen that a lot in applications lately where there is none. I'm not seeing it here. So I also have to vote no.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. And I was the last. Whatever rules, if they could put an ADU in now, they can put an ADU in then. If the rules that I put up there, I think are restrictive enough to deal with neighbors' concerns with signage, which you can't have bigger than 2 by 2 and not lit. That's really hard to have it be obnoxious. If they run afoul of parking rules, they run afoul of parking rules. The rules also talk about how home businesses can't you can't tell, you shouldn't, except for the sign, you shouldn't be able to tell from, you're not allowed, if you can tell from the outside that they have a home business there, they are violating the rules except for the sign. So if in the future you see someone, you can tell someone's running a home business in there by anything they put there outside of it, other than you can call that in, and they're not allowed to have any employees. So I think that greatly limits the use. So I will vote yes as well. And I want to make sure we have six. The vote goes to the board with the record, goes to the board. Sorry, I've been working on a parole board case for the last 2 weeks. So that's it's a recommended approval, 6-3 goes to the committee next Thursday. I would recommend you get the site plan, so if the commissioners want to find a way to limit it, that will help. Especially if you have one available. The meeting will not spend this much time on it. There will be public comment though, and it will be more formal. You probably won't be able to ask questions, but anyone will get to have their say at that meeting as well. So that's next Thursday at the Whetstone Library at 7:00. You are free to stay here and listen to us discuss our rules for the next year, or you are.
It's exciting stuff.
It really is.
Or you
Motion to approve.
I can say the rules. I think I certainly. You could bring the conversation to the outside. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, that's covered the snow. I should say just changing the date. I did suggest leaving December 30th as the committee meeting because I don't think we're worried about having a meeting on New Year's Eve. And to move it back, we'd have to move it back to like the 14th, which would be 2 weeks ago, which is
Have all the after they
right. Yeah, we have that. But let's see, the only other one that's changed is November 18th because of Thanksgiving. No one wants to meet the night before Thanksgiving. I think all the rest are the same. I suggest having meetings through March, scheduling meetings through March in case there's a problem with addressing the meeting with any committee selection problems, so it gives them a month buffer to rule. That's what I said. No, I noticed that we need to do the applications 12 days before the committee meeting because 10 days is Sunday.
Right.
So why not just make clear it's Friday? And I hope that means the way I always treat that means as long as it's by 11:59 p.m. But since it's an email from the city, it's never going to come that late. The main reason so I can have the weekend. I think what did I have quotation marks and scare quotes around it? I had scare quotes around some of the WG scare quoted. I said any committee may seek to amend the motion. I didn't think there was any reason to limit it to dividing it up. But that you still can you can still move to divide it up. I just didn't want to limit it to that. We don't have any formal mechanism for what happens if both Michael and I are unavailable, so I say the chair can just designate any of you to do it. Obviously, wouldn't do that without asking you first.
I think the only thing I would add to that, Steve, is in that rule on 20, it just says the committee chair will make the presentation. You don't say in there that the vice chair, the committee chair or vice chair will make the presentation.
Let's see if I can. Actually, I want.
It's item.
I just have to switch it so that I am.
It's the last thing.
Yeah, I just did switch it, so I'm suggesting so that it appear. Committee chair.
Change it was the committee chair or vice chair will make a presentation at the commission meeting. Because later you're suggesting adding both the committee chair and co-chair are unavailable. So
Yeah,
you never say
led you
the
to believe.
co-chair before that phrase.
I don't like the fact that the unavailable chair and co-chair are the ones that have to designate the committee. Right, if you're unexpectedly unavailable.
I think that,
You could add something that if either the vice chair or the chair are unavailable,
It's-
the
I think
commissioner
I think-
or
I think
the
that-
chair of the
I
committee.
think that
would-
if it's not here, we default to Robert's rules and someone would have to open up
Okay,
Robert's rules.
that's fine, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. The other thing is, right now, we're within 5 days of the committee, the vice chair will transmit the draft minutes to all committee members.
Can we change that to 14 days?
Though, 14 days, that means, 14 days means that's after the commission meeting.
They have to have the minutes before.
And
Is that the draft, you're
The-
speaking the draft minutes or the final minutes?
the draft minutes.
The draft minutes is, I would leave at 5. I'd like them to have it the Monday or Tuesday before the commission meeting on Thursday. Give them at least 48 hours to review.
Right.
I admit I push that deadline quite often.
So it's sort of,
Do you want us to roll back to 4, maybe just look a little more accountable?
That would mean
Oh,
Sunday.
no, not that.
But also, I'll let the commissioners know that this means that they don't get the minutes until possibly late Monday night.
That's been honestly typically when I've been getting them out is late Monday evening. If that is not enough time, we can discuss it. My
I mean,
goal
it's
is to
just
do better about
minutes,
getting
they
the
can
minutes
read
out
one page of minutes.
for these meetings.
But they're usually more than one page. They're
But
usually-
still,
yeah. I just,
I'm far too detailed, so.
well, that is,
and the whole idea is to be realistic to same with the lead time for me to get the notices out. You have to we're volunteers and we have day jobs and we have to have some allowances for that. You suggest changing some of the final minutes within 14 days?
What, final minutes?
Final minutes?
Final minutes within 14 days.
Of the committee's approval, which means the next month.
right.
Yes, we're talking only final minutes of last month's meeting, not the draft minutes that are
That they're going
required
to the
for the
commissioners.
commission meeting
Right.
next week.
Right.
14 or 15, did you say 14 or 15?
14.
14, it's 14 days. And I changed 20, say that committee chair, vice chair, or member designated by the chair will make a presentation of the commission explaining the committee's decision. And since the vice chair can act as the chair when the chair is not available, that should take care of that.
Can we go back up to O for a second, make that second sentence, whatever letter is next, because those are two separate things. One's draft minutes for 1 month, and the final minutes are for the next month.
Yeah, fair point. So we've got.
You mean clarify?
Yeah. Maybe that'll list, maybe.
Sometimes the minutes are harder than others, I will admit.
Oh,
And I'll,
Great job.
And you do. No, you do.
You do excellent work.
yes. No, and it is one of the most, important, I think the minutes are probably the most important thing we produce because they get to hear Diane's concerns, your concerns, my concerns, Michael's concerns, and then they can decide who they agree with.
I do try to do an accurate job of reflecting the intent.
We never agree.
Which, it also, and I do want to say, I think I said this, one thing I like about having Michael as the vice chair and doing the minutes is, since he and I often vote so differently, I think it's good that the minutes are prepared by someone who's most likely to.
Vote differently, I never noticed.
But I think that helps the commission, I think that gives them
No,
the extra
it gives a
credibility.
clear picture.
Yes.
That's what's important.
Thank you. I do
What was the
appreciate
thing that we
compliment.
had that you were gone, and it was like unanimous, but if you two were here.
It would have been. And I'm glad you
That was a
recognized
couple
it.
months ago.
So I think I did put that, I think I did note that, I said
Yeah.
on the records that I thought that you two were.
You did.
You did.
Yes,
You put
I
that in
just,
the
now
minutes.
I remember, like, oh, daddies weren't there.
Probably something with the garage.
Well, let me, I think, do I have a
I
motion?
have a question.
Go ahead.
Number 4, I don't understand this sentence. Committee members may participate and vote on matters before the committee, even if they are not members of the commission.
That's something the city attorney insisted we put in.
I think what that
What
is,
is that?
what I think that is intended to cover is the fact that we are appointed members, not elected. And that we may comment on matters even though we are not elected by.
He's not members of the commission.
We are unique as far as I know in the city.
Well, we are.
The fact that non-commissioners are on, that run this committee and everyone here is a non-commissioner.
I understand this.
That's the explanation for it, and it's the city, but my real explanation is city attorney said so.
Said so we're number 4. Okay.
Yeah, city, that's one thing I
It's
dislike
kinda
about
goofy.
this job is having to defer to prosecutors. My day job is proving prosecutors are wrong. So, do I have any?
The only other one I've got is their item that defines item 8 defines the committee chair will maintain an email list, zoning email list. That might be your scare.
I think because I used that as a term later on.
You use it earlier, and I think we need to move that item earlier in the document, so you're defining the term prior to using it. Sorry.
That makes sense. So where is it earlier?
It is used in 2 or 3. It's used in 3. So right now, that item for defining the zoning email list is item 8, and it's used in item 3. So you usually have to define terms before you use them.
Mission, define terms. Item 1.
So you're saying that 8 should be like 3 and 3 should be like 4?
Yeah.
And change everything.
Just move it
Just move it up in the document. So that's extremely technical and humbling, but
I think, but I say it's called the zoning, so
Yeah.
it's avoid.
You say I call myself Steve, you put your name in quotes?
The committee chair will maintain a list of all people requesting notice of zoning matters. Maintain a zoning. Well, partly I want to do is make sure that it was clear that this is what I was trying to do. Maintain a zoning, how about this?
I think if you put it up there, it requires quotes, because then it would be.
How about since it? What is that? I also if I capitalize, I think capitalize. A zoning email list, and then get. No, I am always happy to make things simpler. Because it's also hard trying to, looking around my seat. Do I have to?
Looking over your shoulder.
So we move that up.
Right.
And the other, unless there are any other comments, if there are any comments to come back to that, I thought of producing something like this that might be helpful.
That's very.
Is this clear enough? Email received, the application cutoff, email received by committee from city, is that?
that's, you're just going to maintain this table every year in the rules, unfortunately.
Well, the thing is about this, once it runs out, it can't deceive anyone because it has years on it.
True.
And but I also think, I've heard this with people, we can also give this to the city because I think I would love the city to know that if they give me something on March 15th, that it's going to be delayed, especially around the holidays, that it gets super delayed. Then for a couple months in a row, I've got it the day after the cutoff.
More clarity will give our applicants for deadlines and the city information on our deadlines. That's
Part of the reason we had that is it used to be there was no deadline and that we had an informal one, and so it also came down to me. I was afraid that I was. If someone was sympathetic to me, I was more likely to bend, and I didn't think there should be that in the rules.
Only concern I might have about this is it has a CAC meeting first and then the committee meeting is prior to that. Is anybody gonna be confused on the move the table calls around? Maybe
The application committee meeting.
Anyway, it's like one, maybe in that case, don't you need to reverse all of them? Yeah.
Well, no, we'll just split the first and the
The
third.
committee meeting date can stay.
Yes, I like it. That one's good.
We're good. We are.
And also, I also want to make sure that the commission approves this because I have their dates on this and I don't want to set their.
Make sure that's.
Yeah, it's gotta be right now.
Well, no, but that's also why it says draft, above and below and then across. I don't want, if people show up, if the commission moves it a week and, I mean, I have to put a note.
As long as it's possible.
If you give it to the city and then you move the date, then you're gonna.
Bill, you notice why I have Stacy Boutel, I have that, that's her last. She's our neighborhood liaison, she gets CC'd on everything just for that reason.
But there is a caveat in this whole document that says we may change the rules.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But people are gonna read the
Point
important parts.
With
the fine print.
with caveats. but-
With the permission of the chair.
Yep.
And that's just the catch-all in case something weird.
I think it's a good idea, just to make sure we're all aware what the pitfalls and.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve these as they are on the screen? As the committee's recommendation? Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Unanimous, yes. Do we have, let me just make sure there's nothing else on the agenda. I don't think there is, except that there's no one here. Everyone can read when the next meetings are. Our next meeting is March 25th, right here. Look forward to seeing you. Do any other comments, except for, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Come on.
Without objection, it's unanimously decided.
You're waiting for that beer, we're
The meeting is adjourned at 8:06. I just realized